Skryre is best.
What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 50 of my Total Warhammer 3 Ikit Claw Immortal Empires campaign. So as we saw last time, we got another ambush out of charge lock, this time hitting Serena Catrin and destroying her entire army, though leaving her alive as she decided to escape, rather than fight to the death. Now this pretty much, unless I'm mistaken, breaks the Kislevite faction, at least for now. They do still have a decent amount of territories remaining, because that was, I believe, the only real big army they had on the field. They are rebuilding one here at Fort Straghov, but they are threatened by a bunch of Chaos forces, and we may not need to intercede and can leave our allies to it. Hopefully Throt, after taking Prague, can then take Kislev and start moving southward. Also in a comment, somebody reminded me that that Krakatrak exists, and while I don't know whether the dwarfs actually spawn there, if they do, that may be a problem, and per the comment, perhaps we have to leave one or possibly two armies up here until they're dealt with. We probably don't want them killing Throg, or at least damaging him too heavily, as he is a pretty good ally, and hopefully we will use him to be taking a bunch of stuff to the north of us, rather than fighting the Dark Elves right now, anyway. Well, let's see what we gotta do this turn before we end it. I believe we have 4 turns until the endgame scenario, and about to be 3, because we did most of the stuff last time. Corporal, you're still staying where you are. You can't move. You're kind of stuck, and because of the Elves and the Dwarfs threatening you. Metable is good. Mutin is good. Throt has just moved. Garth Queek. Plague Rolk, yeah, you're still gonna stay here. He can just continue generating mana until he's maxed out, and then once he is, he can move back into Varenka Hills and await the spawning of the Karazakarak dwarfs. Obside the Experimenter, you are still waiting in the harbor as you're a plague ship, and hopefully next turn you'll be able to move back into Berekvar and heal up a little bit. Oh, and you might actually have to stay at Berekvar. If Berekvar spawns as a minor faction, I guess this is probably then the appropriate place to be a plague ship. Alrighty, Scalpite and Ronan. Those are the guys that are going to, they're going to Queek. So to Queek ye shall go. Looks like you won't reach him on time, but you'll reach him eventually. Also, with regards to the other legendary lords, as in not Throt and Queek, the dead legendary lords, Deathmaster Snitch and Lord Skrolk and... oh my lord, I keep forgetting the name. I forgot the name of the clan Rictus. Tretch Craventail, there we go, wow. Yeah, all 3 of them. I think what I'll do is I'll add the Defeated Legendary Lords mod right after the End is Nigh happens. So, in 4 turns, that's exactly when I'll add it. That way we can skip any bugs that it causes with the endgame scenario, just in case, but at the same time it'll be like them coming back to help deal with all of this stuff, as they've been in hiding since all of their factions got destroyed, which does make sense to me anyway. Alrighty, Ratmech, let's keep you moving. You're going to Nagaron to get us some nice money from it, hopefully. 3 turns until Under Empire Expanded is gone. And let's see, Slicin', you're a bell farmer, right? You're not named bell farmer, but you are a bell farmer. Yeah, and you're just a Cunnin chieftain. Alright, that's fine. You can just stay there, because you don't have a bell farmer, or you don't have a bell polisher, so no need to deal with you right now. We'll deal with the items before the spawn as well, and with that, unless there is money to spend, we can end the turn. Alrighty, buildings, I believe we did all last episode, especially after we confederated Bok the Lethal. I am curious to see, or hopeful that we will maintain the loyalty here with all of this recruitment. Would be kind of annoying. I kind of don't like how they once again spawn at 0 loyalty. It seems kind of silly. Especially once again the leader of the clan. Oh, I'm gonna confederate you, but I'll immediately rebel. What is that? What is the point then? Anyway. We're keeping the rest of the stuff here. Oh, you know what we could spend some money on? Let's build up the 2 underway nexuses. Yeah, they're gonna cost us money, but, you know. Just so that they're ready to go once we get here. Also, Eshin, you know what? Let's just get a little bit of a food building here. It's not much, but 1 food is fine. We could also get a little bit of a money building here, but I'm not sure it's actually worth the food maintenance at this point in time, and I'm kind of inclined to say the same thing for you. 1 food for 200 money. You know what? Just delete you. The money is good, the food is a lot less good. In several locations, we may even want to replace a few buildings and just go for maxed raiding caverns or whatever that other food building is. Everywhere. But anyway, we'll deal with that later. Right now, we'll need the money for recruitment and other stuff. Oh, speaking of recruitment, you're good, right, Garth? You got 2 turns, you got your Beastmen stuff coming in just in case Carrick-Ziflin spawns. We shall see about that. Alright, we're good. Unassigned skill points, hero not moved, lord not moved, outpost available. This is what? Oh, the Decadent Host. Alrighty, which one is safer? The Silver Tower of Sorcerer is about to get taken over by Crone Hellebron. Oh, damn. Maybe we shouldn't have allied with these guys, they might be dying. Alright, let's build one at the Twisted Towers, at least Siggy is there to defend it. What's the garrison like here? Ooh, pretty weak. That's even weaker at the Silver Tower. Well, isn't that a shame? Yeah, we're gonna need to force Throg to fight all the Dark Elves, because him coming down here isn't gonna do us any favors. Anyway, now we can end the turn, and see if we get attacked, let's say, up here. Oh, well, you know what? We're also ambushing a Tolakwa. That might happen as well. Let's look here. Actually, it won't matter, because the camera is going to go away. Scarby, you probably want us to join... Oh, you want us to join Morgan's Harbinger of Disaster? There's no need for that. I was assuming he was going to ask us to attack Khemri. Alright, Tolakwa, no, they're not going to buy it. I guess Shife's ambush probably got foiled. But it's okay, we can attack Tolakwa directly, and it does look like Tic-Tac-Toe is standing outside it now. And hello, Skarsnik is going to attack Plague Rogue here, with a, well, no Lava Arachnaroks, though, in it, so not all that threatening. A lot of Gabo units, but we do have a lot of Warp Fire Throwers to deal with this. The question here now is, do we fight this? The reason I'm thinking that there may be a reason to not fight it is the fact that a powerful Skarsnik will actually be something of a slight threat to any spawned dwarf units, but if we back off, what he might do is he might just jump to one of our weaker provinces rather than stay there, which wouldn't help us very much. Now, alright, let's fight this. Let's fight this. I think the auto-resolve is lying as to low casualties, because the enemy does have overwhelming numbers, if nothing else, and we don't have artillery, which is a big problem. Although we can, at least they'll be coming towards us. Alright, well, let's give it a try. Very well, that was it, alrighty. Well, let's see if this battle goes very well. I feel like it could be pretty interesting. On the one hand, we do have an okay-ish position here. We do have a hill with a little bit of impassable terrain that we can make use of, but there's still quite a lot of ways that the enemy could surround us, and then there's this forested area that they could move through, which would really prevent us from activating or making good use of any of our weapon steams. In addition to that, the hill isn't, it's not perfect, as in it's a little bit wavy, so a few of the units might have a little bit of a difficult time firing, but we'll see. The biggest problem for us is going to be, well, first of all, obviously the archers. We originally did want to build a couple of plague mortars in this particular army to deal with enemy range units and enemies from a long distance, or artillery, but we don't have either because of obviously that damn Skaven plague that the clan Moors left us, and has a little bit of a parting gift before we confederated them. And in addition to the archers, we're facing off against a pretty massive number of cavalry. We've got 1 squig hopper unit here and 2 pump wagons from the reinforcement, 4 cav units, including chariots, in this reinforcement, then let's see, 2 pump wagons, another cav, and another pump wagon, and then 3 more cav here. So yeah, we have a lot of fast movers that honestly this one little army isn't going to be super adept at dealing with. It's going to create quite a lot of problems. If it's a one-on-one, then obviously these weapon teams armies are really, really good, but when you get overwhelming numbers on the enemy's side, it's a lot more dangerous. This is where we would probably like to have a Skaven slave army to back us up, but Oh well. Now it looks like the enemy does want to, probably smartly, move in with its entire force, so it is going to wait for its reinforcements rather than going towards us directly. This, however, does allow us to trundle along with our Doom Wheel here, and start occasionally casting things and just annoying the enemy army. There we go, gonna start getting a few shots off in there, and let's see, how much is your missile resistance? 40%, plus 15% ward save. That's pretty darn solid, and 72% magical resistance because of your items. Yeah, well, magic isn't really a threat to Plague Rogue, I guess. So what we want to do here is, while the enemy is just milling around, cast the occasional spell. Looks like we're gonna catch 2 or maybe 3 units as the Cav is going to move in here, so a Clan Skryre, Clan Stone comes down, then the Brass Orb, and then the Overcast Warp Lightning right into the middle of that. Oh, looks pretty good. And let's see, that unit of goblins is very badly damaged. Goblin Archer is destroyed. One of the Squig Hoppers is at half HP. I think fairly decent trade. Maybe we could have done better by allowing that to happen when the enemy attacks us, but if we can just try to destroy as many units as possible before the battle is actually engaged, maybe that would be better. We're also going to obviously try to focus down the enemy archers, which we don't have much of an answer for, as we do lack a lot of ranged units, and while our rattling guns may be able to range them, they do need the ability to actually hit them over the hills, and on top of that, they have other things to focus on, like Skarsnik and all that cav and the trolls. Alright, keep working on it there, Plague Rogue. Once again, if the enemy's gonna leave themselves vulnerable like this, we gotta make good use of it. And another Warp Lightning coming down, but this time, unfortunately, the enemy did move away. It doesn't work out so well when the Brass Orb isn't there to keep the enemy in place. But fortunately for us, the Doom Wheel isn't really catchable by all these infantry units, as long as we watch out for the Cav. Plus, the Doom Wheels have a difficult time using all their ammunition while the battle is going, so perhaps it's better to use as much of our ammunition here as possible. And, almost getting stuck here, but we should have enough mass to make our way out of a little gobbo unit, especially when we explode a few of them. There we go, very nice. And time for our second Brass Orb, and a fairly decently sized blob this time, and another Warp Lightning in the middle of that. There we go. At the very least, Plague Rogue is achieving something here, and that looks like it did roughly the same damage as the last time, damaging about 4 units pretty darn heavily. Soon, however, I do expect the rest of the reinforcements are going to join this army, and the battle will be truly joined. Which I guess is what we have to watch out for. Now, let's see what the damage that we've done so far is. Looks like he's managed to kill about 450 units. That's, I gotta say, that's pretty solid. And we are continuing to fire, and we're going to continue charging into enemy goblin archers as much as we can. Gotta lower their numbers here. And by the fact that the trolls are now finally running towards us, I think that perhaps the enemy is ready to go. And keep away from those trolls, dodge those arrows as best you can. Not that they're super threatening to you, mind. 450 kills, yeah, very nice. Now one more charge in there. It's one of those weird AI behaviors. I suppose what we could have also done is attacked the enemy ourselves, but this was not a good position to do it at. All these kills would have worked in favor of the enemy, and we would have had a difficult time firing, so I think it's better to try to hold this position. The other possibility would have been to deploy around here, or maybe even here, using this tower as a wall, but on the one hand, this would have prevented the enemy from using forests, and it would have prevented them from charging from the sides here. On the other hand, we would have had to deploy most of our rattling guns up on this hill, and then they would have been difficult to protect. And we just don't have a big enough melee line to deal with a lot of this. Anyway, let's see. Plague Rogue's now lost about 20% of his HP or something along those lines. Gotta be careful there, but he's nearly up to 500 kills now. But the enemy is moving in. As we expected, all that cav moving up through the forest on the side here, and 4 cav units are gonna be difficult to stop, especially as we only have 2 units of Clan Rat Spears and 2 units of Storm Vermin to make up our melee line. Of course, we do have our 2 units of of warp grinders, but they're probably better used in the massive melee line here. Oh, and another brass orb gonna come down. It looks like we did manage to get 2 enemy ranged units, and I figured that we might as well make use of it here. And that's all 3 brass orbs, unfortunately, so we won't have any more, but another unit pretty badly beat up. And now we're getting the heck out of here. And there we go, now the battle is more or less joined. The Goblin Wolf Riders are going to try to hit us from the side here, though we do have one of our rattling guns on top of this hill, who should be able to take that unit out, or at least damage it pretty heavily before it gets up here. And warp fire throwers are gonna help with this. Alright, so that's 1 cav unit out of the fray. We're also going to immediately switch targets with our rattling guns towards these pump wagons, so are going to be quite difficult to stop with the clan rats alone. Hopefully we can destroy those, and they take quite a lot of damage both from the warp fire throwers and the rattling guns by the looks of it, so these ones at least won't be able to achieve too much. Lovely. Over on the main side, it looks like the enemy has charged some Night Goblin Squig Hoppers into our Storm Vermin. Gotta be careful about killing our own units here, though, as warp fire throwers and Poison Wind Globadiers are gonna be firing down. And that's probably going to hurt us way more than it's going to hurt the enemy, though the enemy is a larger target by virtue of those Night Goblin Squig Hoppers, so maybe they should be taller than Clan Rats or Storm Vermin at any rate. Over on this side, the enemy did charge in, and we did have to immediately use our Warp Grinders, that Seismic Snare and Warp Quake coming down. We've also countercharged the enemy with our Chieftain here, and are moving Plague Rogue himself in to try to deal with this Goblin Wolf Riders and prevent them from killing our Warp Fire Throwers. That said, by virtue of how damaged these Clan Rats are and how damaged these Warp Grinders will probably soon be, it doesn't look like this particular flank is going to hold too well. We just don't have the numbers, at least in terms of melee. Alrighty, well, do what you can. Now it looks like some pump wagons are going to be directly charging our warp fire throwers here, and here comes some trolls and other stuff, and the main enemy line is here. The rattling guns are obviously here to focus the trolls, so that's what they're gonna do, and by the looks of it, the damage is certainly there as those river trolls get destroyed right before they manage to breach our battle line. And Plague Rogue is going after the Snotling pump wagons, who are preventing these warp fire throwers from firing, so they're at least doing their job. And over on this side, it looks like we have managed to protect ourselves on this flank. By the looks of it, the enemy just didn't charge enough units, and they all got pretty much destroyed. But that's only a fraction, I would think, of all of their cav. They still got plenty more, and plenty more infantry and missile infantry as well. Now this is only the beginning of the battle, and here they come. Let's hope that we can prevent them from overwhelming us. The Warp Grinders, our second unit of Warp Grinders, are going to move directly into the main blob of enemies here to pop that second Seismic Snare and Warp Quake. And there we go, just trying to hold the enemy back here. This would have been very easy if we could have expended a nuke here, but obviously this was a battle by choice and there was no real need to waste a nuke here. And we don't really care about this army either. If it wasn't for the fact that the end was nigh, we probably would have deleted it. But now it should be fairly useful against the dwarfs if it survives this. Can't quite tell what's going on because of the snare there, well, a lot of the enemies did get caught in it. That said, several of our units are getting kind of badly beat up. The Storm Vermin are running away and are basically done for. The enemy also has this massive line of archers, which we were trying our best to kill earlier with Plague Rope, and unfortunately several of their units did come back and are still firing despite the fairly heavy damage on them. Oh well, fortunately on this side we can call in these guys as a reinforcement, as this flank no longer needs to be protected, and this one did actually manage to survive. The Clan Rats are coming back after routing. The Warp Grinders I'm sure will return as well, and the Warp Fire Throwers may be able to survive the remnants of that one unit of Squig Hoppers. Alright, pretty close on that flank. And we still have a lot of other units to watch out for as well. We also have our Chieftain fighting in the middle of this. I do wish it wasn't a dark battle map, but what can you do? Alrighty, and here they come up the hill, our second Storm Vermin moving in to head them off, but as we can see, a lot of our units are routing now. Rattling guns, Poison Winds, and I think more warp fire throwers, well, those storm vermin as well. But yeah, these guys are about to overwhelm us here. We do have a unit of clan rat spears that decided to move around like this to try to at least stop some of these ranged units from firing. Plus that unit of warp grinders is heading in. It did rally, and hopefully we can get it back into the big blob here in order to hopefully warp quake and stop these guys and damage them a little bit further. The two assassins are also trying to assassinate Skarsnik, but they're probably going to have a fairly difficult time of it, and though they might get some help from the chieftain shortly, if he's not busy being completely surrounded by trolls and pump wagons. Alrighty, another warp lightning just to try to get the chieftain out of the press, but it looks like he's still a little bit too stuck. And we are now setting up a second battle line with our units that have retreated and come back. Obviously the goal is to set our units down here while continuing to fire our warp fire throwers at the enemy as they fight those units. Luckily the Skaven units are fast enough to escape the enemy, so we do have the ability to reuse quite a few of them here. And there we go, warp fire throwers. They were not really able to get as much of a chance to do damage earlier in this battle. And there we go, there's that warp quake coming down with that seismic snare, so even more units on that center line of enemies, but there's still a fairly decent amount trying to keep Skarsnik safe, I guess. But our second battle line is being set up pretty nicely as more and more units return. We've also got our chieftain and our lord waiting down here, so as the enemies crest that hill and then move down to fight our remaining units, or our rallied units of storm vermin and our lord and stuff, we should still get a decent amount of fire going. And wow, you still have ammunition left? Yeah, just a little bit, damn. I'm glad we expended as much as we could in that early portion of the battle, because it was clearly needed. And there's Skarsnik now being focused down by some rattling guns. The chieftain is here, and the assassins are giving chase to him as well. Can't quite see them all in the dark, but, that's where the assassins feel right at home. So hopefully these three can take him out. And there's still a lot of enemy ranged units left, but right now it looks like it's primarily down to ranged units. Most of the melee units got either destroyed or routed by that last use of the warp quake, and if Skarsnik can be killed, and it looks like he's in pretty bad shape here as well, we should be okay. Balance of power is now in our favor, very slightly mind you, maybe 60-40, 65-35, something along those lines, and we're finally being able to use the Warlock or Plague Rogue to move through these archers once more and at least stop them from firing to some degree. We've also basically run out of mana at this point, casting Warp Lightning basically non-stop, and I think a single use of Death Frenzy on before we ran. Speaking of running away, it looks like Skarsnik is out of the picture and does in fact fall to the Storm Vermin and the Assassins, and with his death, the rest of his army decides that they can handle this no more, and they give us the field. Ooh. What a great fight. Yeah, this kill was a pretty interesting position. It both did work well and didn't work well for us at the same time. Yeah, a few of the units had a little bit of a difficult time moving, especially the warp fire throwers. I was expecting a little bit more out of them in this particular battle due to their sheer numbers, but unfortunately the pump wagons just charged them so damn quickly, and the rattling guns couldn't bring those down, at least over on this side, that they were able to stop them from doing too much work. A couple of them did manage to find good positions and still did a crazy amount of damage, but not as many as I'd like. Anyway, we got a lot of units to chase, so a chasing we shall go. Obviously, we are going to kill as many units as we can, and not so much that we care, because probably the dwarfs will do our work for us here, and another lord got brought down by the assassins. But just we gotta make sure that the enemy doesn't come back the next turn and then jump down to Carrick Drawn or something else, so the army does still have to be hurt. Also, it looks like we managed to get away without losing a single unit, though a few of them did get pretty badly beat up. I think one of the reasons maybe to have deployed on this side would have been to make use of the lighter hill. I suppose we could have maybe used this impassable terrain, but I think this is like right on the edge of the map here. Yeah. So pretty cool kill defense in my opinion. It kind of echoes Ikit's, but as we can see the difference with the army types and the fact that once again we have no long range in this army, no Jezzails, no artillery, and no mortars. So yeah, really gotta build some stuff here. Damn that Skaven plague. Oh man, what a fun fight. I really wasn't expecting this one to be the fun fight here, but I'm very pleasantly surprised. Also very impressed with Mr. Plague rather here. 85,000 damage and nearly 1,000 kills to his name, plus quite impressed with our 2 units of warp grinders against the piles of goblin units in particular. 300 kills apiece and much more than anything else in the army. 15,000 and 22,000 in damage as well. So great job to both of those units. There's certainly value in having them in this army. That's pretty clear. But this was a pretty good showing of why I really wanted those mortars in this particular army, because we didn't really have any answer to the enemy ranged units, and without any plague claws or mortars, the piles of goblin archers were essentially left there to freely attack us and hurt our warp fire throwers and our poison winds and our rattling guns and all that stuff. Plus the rattling guns were kind of in a problematic situation for most of the battle due to the sheer number of cavalry and snotling pump wagons that the enemy had. I mean, they basically had a full stack, or at least close to it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 50. Yeah, so 3/4 of a stack of just fast-moving cab or chariot units, which is, yeah. Alrighty, well, or cav-like, pseudo-cav. I mean, the squig hoppers are... Anyway. I suppose we want to heal up just in case these guys attack us again, though it's not looking like it. Unfortunately, this does mean that we are in... Oh, look, he wants a non-aggression pact. We are not in our own territory, so that army won't heal. And, oh, Vlad. It looks like Vlad's going to start fighting us now. Okay, well, that was inevitable. And hardly surprising. At least we're joined by our allies. Not the most ideal time for this to happen, I gotta say. Let's see, Kolek wants a non-aggression pact. I think we'll hold off on this for now, mostly because Archaon really dislikes him. Siggy wants a straight-up military alliance. I'm not sure you're gonna be alive, Siggy, so let's hold off on that, too. And Bellacour, you want us to join war against Avalor? No, we're not fighting the elves right now. We have bigger works to fry. Throg, Wintertooth, you want us to join war against Court of Libaris? We will probably do this eventually, but for now, you're real friendly with us and there's no real reason to do it. Alrighty. Yeah, pretty nice end turn. Lots of very eventful end turn, I should say. Dolgan, you want to... Ooh. It's a nice trade agreement. If you weren't fighting with a bunch of factions that we're allied with, I would do it. Scaling, I don't like you. You're giving us 1,100 gold per turn, but I don't like you because you're holding territories that we want for ourselves. So I think we're not going to do that. Now, what is this? Mutin of Clan Skryre. Well, we're not taking away all of his... Oh, wait. This is one of... Hey, Mutin, come on, man. What is this? We're not... Well, I mean, his loyalty is a 10 out of 10, but honestly, the 1,000 gold doesn't really matter. Let's see what this says. A pathetic, mewling craven of a minion lord has come to you with news that others plot scheme your downfall. The stretch has done well to bring this to your attention. Yeah, fine, he gets a reward for that. And who is this? Garth of Clan Skryre. A turn of attrition. Well, he's going to be recruiting for at least a turn anyway, so yeah, he can have the extra loyalty. And there we go. Recruit cost, ambush chance for defeating Skarsnik, corporal good, Throt good, ambush foiled Scheif, faction destroyed Spittle, ally mission successful. Undercity destroyed in Eschen, oh no. Oh. Eschen got destroyed by... Kazrak is here. Huh. Okay, well that's actually not so bad. As long as he leaves Schwarzhofen and Castle Drakenhof alone, this actually helps us because, well, these guys did just declare war on us. Ergig just got a plague, not so great, but at least our army is no longer there. Breeder, hey, another bell polisher, and 2 bell polishers, 3 bell polishers, wow. Mickey didn't have one, Scalpite got a breeder. Ready for duty, Sniven, I don't know who you are. Alright, now, what happened here? Oh, Cyprus actually gained loyalty rather than rebelling. We still can't delete him, though. Do we currently have the +1 loyalty? Yeah, we have our +2 loyalty. We have the 13th scheme up and running, which is actually quite helpful here. Also, Buck the Lethal, what do you got now? You're at 1 loyalty only. Okay, we need you to win a battle immediately. Karak Vlag, not super well defended. I guess that's where we're headed. This is hardly a strong army, but, well, it needs to do something. It needs to do something quick. Hopefully there isn't an army there. Oh, damn it. Okay, there's an army here. What do we have here? It's just full of goblins and such. I wonder if they'd be willing to fight us in the field. You know, somehow I doubt it. They're probably gonna move into Karak Vlag and then defend it. Could we take over Karak Vlag? I mean, it's still just a pile of goblins. There's Orc Boy Biggins and Trolls in there that are problematic, but we do have the Rattling Guns and the Poison Winds to answer them. Yeah, alrighty. Hopefully. As in, hopefully Bok won't lose his loyalty. Now, you, Plague Rolk. Great job in that fight. We're not going to attack Karazakrak. Let the dwarves deal with it, and I think these armies are now too weak to threaten us, so you're going to move back into Varenka Hills. Obside is now ready to move back into Barak Var and heal up before, hopefully, well, not hopefully, but before presumably Barak Var respawns. Also, oh look, we can hire ogres. What can we recruit here? You know, it only takes 1 turn to recruit Plague Claws. I think that means Plague Rolk, if nothing else. You're better off getting those. Now, you do have 2 Assassins, which we've been using, and they're pretty okay, actually, in terms of being reasonably fighty lords. We can also keep the Chieftain here, that's fine. I'm just wondering what we would replace with the Plague Claws. The thing is, if we defend against the dwarves here in Varenka Hills, it will be a minor settlement, so the number of melee troops won't matter that much. But on top of that, the assassins, while decent against orky units, I feel like they wouldn't be all that useful against dwarfen lords. They're just not good enough. They don't do enough damage. Their armor piercing is low. They just wouldn't be able to kill a dwarf lord. So I think in that light, what we'll do is move you 2 out. We might put you in a different army, or we might just use you as... I mean, considering you leveled up, we may be able to use you to assault units. Especially when the dwarves come up. Maybe even level you a little bit further right now. Rather than have you be just fighters. Alright, I kind of like that idea. Let's get you specialist, and... oh. If you're gonna level up via Assassinate, this will increase the chances quite a bit. But on the other hand, your main use is gonna be to assault units, so I think Specialist is probably the way to go. Alright, for you and for you. You can have 1 point in assault units, I think. Yeah, let's go 1 point in assault units. And then we'll try to level you 2 up. In the meantime, Plague Rolk, you are going to global recruit yourself to Plague Claws. Oh, it's so nice that they recruit at only 1 turn, and that's going to be really helpful. Now I'm just looking at this to see whether there's anything else we would like to replace. I'm almost tempted to remove the 2 Clan Rats units. Yeah, they're high veterancy, or reasonably high veterancy, and they do hold a line. But once again, I doubt this army is going to be fighting in the field. And then again, the garrison at Varenka Hills is basically non-existent, but we'd probably still get more mileage out of having Plague Claws in here than anything else. We should also probably do something about this army. And in fact, there's a lot of armies where we probably want to do something with. Wait, first of all, Metable, you're moving here, and I think you can move further, yeah. You're trying to get to as close to Doddernbach as you can. You, Cyprus, will be transferring troops to this guy next turn as he moves to Doddernbach. And he'll be transferring troops to you, which means you can move to Doddernbach right now. And, ooh, looks like we won't be able to get to Carrickfern in time, but maybe we'll get there to reinforce. What we'll want to do with you is to possibly recruit some stuff. We can recruit Death Runners in this army, and we can also recruit Slingers and Eshin Triads. We might also want to replace this particular lord here. Can we get any Poison Wind Globadiers? Not through this. They take 2 turns to recruit here? Yeah. This guy's gonna be here in 1 turn, which means we can't afford 2 turns. You need to move. So whatever you can recruit, recruit here. Alright, let's replace these Skaven Slave Slingers with Gutter Runner Slingers, I think. Maybe we'll be able to send them up on the walls. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we'll get a couple Death Runners in here as well. That's pretty much all we can do. Like so. Might be helpful against the piles of dwarfs. And maybe Plague Claws as well. Oh wait, actually. Maybe 2 Plague Claws. 3 of these units need to get replaced by the ooh, now I'm just thinking maybe Death Runners aren't the way to go. It really depends on if we can get to where we need to go on time, and it doesn't look like we can. Karakurn's gonna somewhat have to fend for itself, but maybe we can help it out. A little bit problematic. But once again, what can you do? Alrighty, let's replace you 3 with 3 Plague Claws or 2 Plague Claws. If these 3 units are going to be in here, they were originally supposed to be replaced here. Oh, but we have 2 spaces. Yeah, fine. Let's go 2 Plague Claws, and then we'll replace these 3 with the Minotaurs. You know what? 3 Plague Claws. They're just too useful. And at 1 turn, it's really quite good. We're going to recruit some stuff as well. Gutter Runner Slingers, you need more melee. Alright, let's get you some basic Clan Rat Spears. Yeah, basically no melee. Granted, a defending Barrack Var, you'd still be pretty good, so we don't necessarily need those. Almost tempted to get more Plague Claws. There's Plague Claws everywhere. You know, let's get 1 more Plague Claw. You have Boommaster as well, but we might also replace you with a different lord. I'll have to think about that. And then we'll still have a couple turns to globally recruit. Okay, so you guys getting set up. You're getting set up. Everybody's looking good to me. It looks like these guys can't actually reach Varenka Hills right now. They may move to Carrick Drawn. I actually wouldn't be surprised if they did. But, no, we'll see. We'll see. Also, QUAKE. You have 2... Oh, you didn't attack the Fortress of Vorag? Huh, interesting. So we could build the... What was this again? Tower of Bloody Tooth. Construction cost for buildings. Well, you know what? We can start building the covert choke points here. I'm almost tempted to get a temporary lord in here. Huh. I wasn't expecting that one. Also, yeah, we won't have time for another cinematic battle because that one took quite a while. You're able to attack Tic-Tac-Toe directly. Ooh, so draw out the garrison into a field battle. Alright, so that'll be a nice cinematic battle for next episode. I don't see the dwarves coming out, so Corpable looks good. And, oh, right. You really need to die. You're gonna run. But we should be able to catch you now. Finally, this stupid little army. I am so sick of you. Die, please. And there we go. But in the same... Ooh, nice amount of food. In the same manner as Krakadrak, we may be forced to defend Vulture Mountain, as the Greybeard's Prospectors might spawn here, so I think we'll have to keep this army around for now, just in case. If the Greybeard's Prospectors spawn, we'll use it to defend. If they don't, we'll immediately delete it. Yeah, that's probably the way to go. Alrighty, well, is there anything else that we can do to set up the next battle? Mutant. Ooh, yes, I've been waiting for you to do this for a while. You are going to go here briefly. Like so. Then, Skaven Blight, you are ready for a lot of upgrades that we've been waiting for a while. The Shattered Tower, and we just caught Materials at Sea, which is lovely. And the Council Chamber, the 13. That is so much cheaper, and then we can just upgrade everything that we possibly can at Skaven Blight in one go. And then, afterwards, immediately switch it to Exploitative Planning, and Mutant, you're out of here. Now, 3 turns left, you can... be able to reach this, right? So you're at the end is nice 3, so we move once now. Then next turn there'll be 2 left and we'll move here. And then we'll have 1 left and we'll move to Zerxel. Perfect, okay. Looks like Mutant will be in position. Will the other Mutant be in position? It looks like he will as well. Especially if we jump over this to go to Ekrund. We'll have 1 extra turn, I guess. Or, wait. I wonder if we can manually just run around here. Do we risk it? 1, and then we'll have 2 left, and then we'll move once, then we'll have 1 left, and yeah. I guess we'll run around. And the reason I want to have him run around is because, oh damn, Winds of Magic are calm here. I was hoping to generate a little bit more mana. Because he's down, and he'll be down to 10 after this. He'll really need to channel for at least 1 turn. Alright, so go here. Alright, there we go. Oh, 20 is the minimum that you can have. Well, that's just swell. Okie dokie, well, it looks like we're getting there. We're getting prepared. QUAKE. Will Karak-Azul spawn? I'd love to send QUAKE to start fighting the elves, but if Karak-Azul spawns, you're gonna need to be here to defend us immediately. Well, I guess we'll figure that out in only 3 turns and almost 2 turns, because this turn is basically done as well. Just a little bit of building to do and a couple moves to make. Anyway, I'm gonna call the episode here, and next time we will probably have a fight with the remnants of the Empire at Castle von Rauken, as this is a decent time, I think, for Charge Lock to finish that faction off, plus the battle against Talakwa, so a couple nice big cinematic battles out of that, and then the end turn, and then the continuation, or pretty much the end of the prep for the new invasion. Or the invasions, the many invasions, I should say. So stay tuned for more rats. Don't forget to leave a like and comment. All glory to the algorithm.
Warpstone.
And thanks for watching.